Well, welcome everyone. I'll get us started here. We've just prayed, and let me start. My name is Gabe McReynolds. I work with One Way Ministries, and I lead the Love Ottawa platform. So One Way Ministries is a ministry in the city that seeks to serve the church leaders and ministry leaders, and help bring them together and bring the various churches and ministries together to collaborate on different initiatives. So that's really our heart. We believe in the unity of the church, that even though we have many different expressions, Protestant, Roman Catholic, evangelical, Orthodox, that we are all united in the name of Jesus. And so we can uh, work together and support one another, and be a blessing to our city. And so Love Ottawa is specifically the platform where we have teams. We help teams with different initiatives. So on our platform, we have like the Big Give, which is churches reaching into the community. We have Dig and Delve, an apologetics ministry. We have Friends for Dinner, the outreach to international students, hosting international students. And there's a number of other themes. So that's a little bit about what we do. For this initiative, um, uh, Edward, who's here with us, Edward Eng, approached us about the appeals coming from Canadian Blood Services for help to rebuild the donor base and to bring up the level of donations. Um, so let me just acknowledge a few people here. Uh, Marie, Marie Noel Cote is with us from Canadian Blood Services. Welcome, Marie. Thank you. Um, we have Lydia Paulino is here from CHRI, and we'll hear a bit more from her later. CHRI is partnering in on this, and so we're really excited about their involvement. And then we have a couple of our core team members. Harold Mantel is here, and Preston, and David. Welcome. We're very grateful for their involvement as well in kind of this. Um, so thank you to each one who's here. So I'm going to invite Edward, who really was the catalyst behind this. He's a longtime blood donor, but he brought to our attention the news and the appeals that were coming from Canadian Blood Services, which was picked up by the local news as well.
Yeah.
Especially there was a real bit of a crisis time over the holidays with all the storms stopping people from
Yeah.
going to the donor. So we just want to give Ed a few minutes to hear how he reacted to this news and what the Lord put on his heart.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So I'll introduce myself. My name is Edward Ng, and Edward, because I'm the fifth child of the family. Like A, B, C, D, and E. My father was learning English when we were born, so like he asked the teacher for tips how to name us. So I'm the fifth child, so A, B, C, D, and E. And then the NG, you can say, is a nice guy. Or one time I searched on the internet, I found out that Transport Canada has this next generation team, which is NG team. So so I'm from Hong Kong. I've been donating blood, before immigrating, and lately I was asked to donate plasma. So Marie can explain what plasma is and so on later on. Like during Christmas time, I kept on hearing from the radio that blood services was desperately encouraging more people to donate blood because during pandemic, some 30% or more of the people drop out of this donor base. And I have friends at work who said, "Oh, blood services is no longer coming to us, so I won't donate. I'll wait for them to come back." So like because the workplace is some kind of in the threat, so the blood services is no longer going to the workplace to donate. So that was a problem. That's partly why there was a drastic drop in donor. But blood is important for life, and and it also has theological and practical significance. So that's why, like, I thought to myself, okay, when there's a blood shortage, why not the church can help? In fact, some 20 years ago, the Chinese churches had mobilized brothers and sisters. I think there were about 60 of us went to the Bronson headquarters to donate. Now they are in counting. So I consult with my church leader, and then he said, "Oh, go ahead, but go big." So not only mobilize the Chinese church, but try to mobilize all churches, because there's a great need, and so the Chinese churches can maybe only mobilize 40, 60, but yeah, the church is big in Ottawa. So so that's why I approach Love Ottawa, because they have a track record of reaching out to the community, having a strong network of churches. So I while donating plasma, I also talked to the blood services. So that's why that's how I got the phone number of the community development manager, Jennifer, who is not here tonight. But then she also get me connected to Marie. And then lately, it's also like this move is also confirmed by the joining of forces with us from CHRI, because CHRI is a good has a good radio broadcasting system, and they have their own circulation, sphere of influence too. So this is some kind of confirmation, and I'm also with the Public Service Christian Fellowship, and through the PSCF. We also have some kind of a strong connection to all the churches. You see, to move the church leaders is difficult, but if there are church members from different churches who can talk to their leaders, that's another way of connecting. So we see God encouraging us, giving us confirmation. And so as one way, Love Ottawa send out the promotion. There's a sister who works at Christian Horizon who said that, "Oh, I really appreciated this effort. Like I can't donate blood, but I need blood transfusions constantly." So when I heard that the blood supply was down, I was worried. But then she really appreciated us for helping to boost up the blood supply system here in Ottawa. And I also talked to some medical doctors, and they really appreciate this. One ER doctor told me that because after we donate blood, actually the blood will expire. So that's why we need a constant supply of blood donors to donate blood. And so surely I think the church can help, and this is a good way to have it during Holy Week. So our target date would be April 1st and April 8th. Actually, anytime in between, that would be our target date. And then possibly on April 1st, either in Carling or Orleans, and then April 8th will be in the other center, because they have two centers. And then in between all the days, like during Holy Week, we encourage brothers and sisters to go and donate. But then actually this campaign can be anytime. Like it doesn't only need to be during Holy Week. So because blood services indeed needs a constant supply of blood, plasma, platelet, and so on and so forth. So this is our vision. And so I will, and then last week I met a brother called Rob. He actually was very excited that we are doing this. Because his wife would have lost her life if not for blood supply. So we have a clip from him from Tuesday night. So Gabe, you can show that.
Okay. I'm just going to share my screen and make sure I share.
While you do that, I just want to say thank you, Edward. You explained Canadian Blood Services so well. I think if we could hire you as an ambassador. You're impressed.
Okay.
All right. Can everyone see this on the screen?
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah, this is Rob and his wife, Margot.
Yeah. So this is about 4.5 minutes. Let me know if the sound is.
Thank you for your interest in boosting blood to donors and donations from Christians in Ottawa. I started donating in the fall of 1999, and I made that commitment in response to a strong sense of gratitude to God for being with my wife Margot through a serious medical crisis. Came upon us suddenly one Saturday morning. She said her leg was stiff, and within half an hour, she was clearly in a lot of pain and distress. When I looked at her leg and touched it, I realized it was not like some sports injuries I've had. It's not a sprain or muscle pull. Her leg was as hot as if she'd sat too close to a campfire. So I figured that must be an infection, and indeed it was, and was getting worse really fast. I called her dad, who's a doctor, and he knew we lived in the country in New Brunswick at this time, and he said, "Are you at home?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Get her to the hospital as fast as you can." And I said, "Do you mean like driving legal fast or illegal fast?" And he said, "Illegal fast, as long as it's safe," because time was of the essence. And he called ahead to let them know that we were coming. And it was really the nick of time, because by the time we got into Emerge, her veins were collapsing. It was really a dire situation. So the next few days were an incredible battle. Each day the infection moved up her leg from her knee. The nurses would draw lines and mark the time with a pen to show its advance to the doctors. And fighting it was a multidisciplinary team of specialists, the best antibiotics available, in prayer from people around the world connected to our families. Sometimes she was lucid through this, and other times she was hallucinatory or incoherent because of the painkillers and morphine that she was on. So the medical team communicated with me. I was warned she could lose her leg. I was warned she could lose her life. I had to give the medical team permission to take her leg if that's what they needed to do to save her life. There were 3 long surgeries, and those surgeries and the team's medical skill and those antibiotics and prayer saw us through the crisis. I prayed through that time with a desperation and a need I've never felt before, or frankly since. I would not bargain with our holy God, but I would make a pledge with him on my knees. And I did. "Save her," I said, "and I will donate blood the rest of my life." So I'm at donation 87. There was one stretch when the hours of my work and where I worked, I was not that regular for 3 or 4 years, but I was regular before that and since then. So Margot was saved, and so was her beautiful leg. And when I met Ed with his infectious enthusiasm for this cause, I thought, yes, I would be happy to share my story. Sometimes this story comes up when I'm donating. You know, you chat with the people on the gurney next to you, and sometimes donors tell their stories, and some have stories more dramatic than my own and Margot's own. But you don't need an experience with the medical system or a crisis. That's the thing. In fact, I'm almost embarrassed that I needed one to get off my fanny and donate. I always thought it would be a good thing to do, and it was on that list of things I would get around to. And then I was shaken up, and I got around to it. So you just need the will and commitment, and I'm glad I've kept my commitment. And I've never regretted it. I recommend it to people who need to know more about it when it comes up in conversation. And when Ed mentioned this initiative, it seems so natural that Christians should be doing this and should be known to be doing this. Christians give time, talent, tithe, all in gratitude. That's where it comes from. And I don't see why we can't add blood to that list. Donating is easy, efficient. The staff are friendly. I love the new app. I have a lot of respect for Canadian Blood Services. I think they do a really, really good job. It's another way to give, and it's a way to give that's also another way to save a life. So thank you for hearing me out, and I wish you all the best in all your efforts.
Okay. Wonderful story from Rob and Margot. Really compelling. So I want to introduce you to Marie now. We've been working with 2 Canadian Blood Services staff, Marie Cote and Jennifer Rose. Jennifer can't be here with us this evening. Jennifer works mainly out of the Carling and Churchill Center, and Maria is at the Plasma, the new shiny new Plasma donation center in Orleans and Plaster Orleans. So they've been great collaborators, and we can serve them well. So she's going to tell us some more information about donating blood.
Well, thank you, Gabe, and thank you, Edward, and thank you very much for listening, for the opportunity and the audience. It's truly needed. And Edward, I think, had a strong point. We're trying to rebuild our donor base. The pandemic did affect us. It's creating new habits. It's coming to the center, and it's every day we're getting into the community, and the call to action is there. So I'd love to show you a small video and then a little presentation, and I'd be open to questions and answers. So I'll share my screen, just a moment. Et voila.
Which never goes away. We need to reach 100,000 new donors this year as lives depend on it. It's your time to show up for Canada's Lifeline.
It's very short. So let me show you the presentation, and that speaks about our program, who we are, and somehow I'm trying to put in presentation mode, but this is where the screen is. Just a moment. Can everybody see my screen? Perfect.
Good.
Thank you so much once again. One of the programs that Canadian Blood Services offers to individual association teams, groups, and Love Ottawa for the Easter Blood Drive, it's called the Partner for Life program. This is a platform where a group can have such an impact on our community. This is a platform where you can create your own campaign, have a group donations inside the center, adopt a chair for a day or for a week, raise awareness in the community, and set a pledge. And this is a platform that Love Ottawa and One Way Ministries is utilizing to run the Easter Blood Drive. There is a set pledge from the 1st to the 8th. We've reserved some spots into our centers, and there's going to be a QR code, an account number created to be shared with the team, and we're asking the community, the group, friends and families to come join the group and come donate to the Orleans Plasma Center and the Blood Center. And the Blood Center, as you know, it's been in Ottawa for a very long time. It's on Carling. Like Edward mentioned, and Edward is absolutely right, we used to have mobile. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, our mobile burnt down pre-pandemic. And after everything that happened with all the health restriction, the one of the easier way to donate is the Canadian Blood Services centers. There are some stations across the city, but we're concentrating more and more on having people come into the centers. And it's for security too, and safety. Why do we need so much blood? I think it was a very good point. We don't keep blood. It's not a product that we keep in our freezers and stays forever. It's something that needs to be replenished constantly, and especially type O. When you walk into an emergency room, we don't always have time to verify which type of blood you are. So we automatically give you blood or plasma, and especially type O. Just for heart surgery, it takes 5 donations just to give the amount of blood, just to give you an idea in terms of volumes. A car crash takes 50 donors. So 50 donation helps one person in a car crash. And if we listen to the news, how often do we hear somebody's been in a car accident? Unfortunately, this is just a reality of what a donation in a volume. Cancer treatments. I don't know if anyone does not know someone that's gone through cancer, unfortunately. It takes 5 donors and 5 donations just to treat one cancer treatment. And that goes on for leukemia. And unfortunately, we hear leukemia affects every age group. There's just no limits. It takes up to 8 donors every week for 8 donations just to treat one treatment. And sometimes it just, the scale of the need is not always justifying. We hear it on the radio, but until we put it into perspective, it just, it doesn't really explain the gap of why the need is so immediate, and the call to action from our community is constantly being sent out. And that's just what we need in terms of blood. Canadian Blood Services taking on a new lifeline called plasma. Plasma is one of the highest growing need globally worldwide. We have approved 7 centers in Canada, and the need was so astronomical that Canadian Blood Services took on the challenge. Plasma is actually 55% of your blood. It's the liquid that holds your red blood cells, your white blood cells, and your platelets. There's a protein into your plasma, and that protein is used to create a drug called IG. And IG is, I'm just going to bring it down and I'll bring it back up. IG is that medication. IG can treat cancer, tetanus, nervous system disorder. It's actually the first medication if you walk into an emergency room and your body's in distress, they'll give you IG and it's going to reboost your system. Bleeding disorder, newborn babies, cancer patients. It's just, this is why it's one of the highest growing drugs in the world needed. It's because it really helps to treat so many, the severe or serious conditions. A man can give plasma every 7 days because plasma is really just a liquid that holds your cells. So it's a little less taxing. And a woman can donate every 14 days. The reason also we put the location for Orleans, we wanted to make sure that we covered well Ottawa, that we had a place for East and Ottawa to be able to donate, because giving plasma is the same process as giving blood. It's a needle in the arm. We withdraw the blood. It goes through the centrifuge, separates your red blood cells and white blood cells, and your plasma drops into a container, and your plasma is actually yellow. And we always have a little giggle in the center, because after Thanksgiving, plasma also takes your fat content from after having a heavy meal. So every Thanksgiving and Christmas, the donations thereafter the next day is very, very cloudy. So we always say, oh, we can tell a lot by your plasma. So this is why plasma now is one of the new lifelines for Canadian Blood Services, because we were sourcing 90% of the plasma from the US. And we knew that it was an immediate call to action. We needed plasma from Canadians for Canadians. In terms of eligibility, it's very similar for blood or plasma. We always ask that you be at least 17 years old. If you've never donated before, the limit would be around 71. If you've donated before, there's really no limit unless you're, until you're healthy. We ask that you're at least 110 pounds, and that's for iron level and hemoglobin. When you walk into a blood or plasma center, we'll always verify your hemoglobin, make sure that you don't have any fevers. Your safety or donor's experience is our priority. We want to make sure you come back, and we always want to make sure that you're safe. Again, blood or plasma, if you have HIV, flu-like symptoms, hepatitis A or B, or if you've just had a recent tattoo under 3 months, you unfortunately cannot donate at this point. Or if you've had cancer treatment under 5 years, if your last treatment was 5 years ago, you can now donate plasma or blood. The one difference between blood and plasma, if you've had malaria, you can still give plasma, but you cannot give blood. Obviously, there's a big book with all the medications. I don't know them all by heart. And if you have, a specific illness or concern, we always suggest to go look at there's a link on blood.ca for plasma or blood. And you can either speak to an associate or read some of the question under the eligibility. And apart from that, if you're healthy, generally, there should be no concern about giving blood or plasma. And both process is the same, except plasma takes a little longer because we give you back your red blood cells, your white blood cells, and your platelets. how to join your team for blood or plasma. So we have created a team for Easter Blood Drive, and you're going to have there's going to be account name, account number, and a QR code. So first and foremost, if you've never donated before, I would suggest that you download the Give Blood app or go on blood.ca and create an account for yourself. And by scanning the QR code, you can join the Easter Blood Drive team. And for thereafter, fill the seats that has been reserved, or the seats, if you're looking for more seats, obviously we've reserved a certain amount, but if there's more places, please go ahead and take them. And we're trying to get as many donations for this event between the 1st and the 8th. So we're hoping that you come and join the team. We will give a link to how to navigate some of the software and the apps, but really it's just creating your own profile under the Partner for Life, the Give Blood app, or on the website for blood.ca. And once you've created a profile, you just simply join the team. So we will send a YouTube and a link to how to manipulate some of the applications. Thereafter, if you want to come and donate there, after those dates and still join the team, all your donations will go towards the group and towards the campaign for the future. And apart from that, that's it. I'm going to stop presenting and I'm going to open the floor to questions.
Well, maybe we'll just save we'll have a time for Q&A.
Okay.
But maybe, Marie, can you just, I know the numbers can be, I don't know if you're ready to talk some numbers, but give us an idea of, how many donations you need. Let's say if you look ahead to the month of April, which will be where most of the blood drive donations will be coming in. How many donations would you really like to see that month? And how many donors would that probably take?
So for the Arlene's Plasma Center, we can take up 208 donations per week. Right now, we're lucky for getting 100.
Yeah.
So in April,
5%.
I could take Dirk about 800 donations in April.
Yeah.
And that just gives an amount. We can take about 60 give and take donations a day. We're open 6 days a week. Actually, the blood center only closes at Christmas, just to give you an idea in terms of accessibility and how we make ourselves available. And our team is there because we know the need is so dire right now. So, for example, because blood is a little bit of a faster process. We're looking in door to door for your first donation will probably be about 45 minutes. For plasma will be an hour because of the time of the return of the cells. Blood is looking for that same amount. We're looking for about 1,000 donors in April.
So 1,000 plus 800, so somewhere around 1,800.
Exactly.
Well, that's something we can shoot for.
I find it extremely difficult walking into the center and after all the media, going door to door, being in the community, being part of the event, doing these webinars and walking into the center and having it empty. And it's about education. Plasma is a new lifeline. We're seeing the challenge, and having to go to Carling, we know sometimes can be challenging. This is why we have those flexible hours. If you go on a website, you'll see the Arlene's Plasma Center is open from 7 to 7:30 at night. The Carling site, just for accessibility, has 6 days a week in those flexible hours throughout the day. And we do have mobiles in event centers throughout the city. But for the 1st and the 8th, the call to action is we're asking for the donations. We're asking for the help. We know the community is going to come through. And this is why we chose Arlene's. This is why the center is still in Carling, because we know it's going to be that home where people can feel comfortable to come into the center.
So you are open on Good Friday too?
Not the Arlene's Plasma Center. We'll have to verify that because we're attached to the mall, so we have to respect the mall schedule.
Okay. But the Carling site will be open on Good Friday.
I believe so.
Yeah, that's what I am told. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've got a couple more things before we get to Q&A. I just wanted to welcome Lydia from CHRI and give her a moment. When we started, when Edward pulled the team together and we started talking about promotion, we knew CHRI was going to be an important part. And so we reached out to them, but we really got sort of a better than we'd hoped for response. So maybe Lydia, you can share a little bit about CHRI's involvement.
Welcome and thank you so much for having us here, part of the group. Thank you, Marie, for all of the details, and Ed for getting this going in the city. We, as CHRI, felt that this is such a great partnership, being Christians and also being the fact that Jesus gave his blood. We felt that it was a great tie-in. And it's something that we've been wanting to do for a long time is we get involved with community activities and events and things like that. But something that CHRI can give back is what we were looking for. And this seemed to come in at the right time. We've done different things like pajama drives and so forth, but that is not the biggest demand that we are finding is required. And this is something that, as we're seeing, is going to be continuously required until end. So we're so excited about being part of this. And at the same point, my role in CHRI is with community events. So the Care was on Tuesday night, and she's an announcer and she's in part of the promotion. So this is the partnership that within our company, we're doing it together. I get to get out to the community. I get to be able to share as much information through handouts and everything that I can get as much awareness out there is possible, then I can do that part. Whereas Care is going to be on air, and she's going to be able to push it that way. So more of what we want to do is more of that awareness out into the community, some in all of the facets that we can get involved with. So we're super excited and thrilled to be part of this initiative. So if there's anything that you think of that you want to get more of, definitely please reach out to us, and we will definitely push as much as we possibly can.
Wonderful. Yeah, so encouraging. Thank you, Lydia. I'm going to just share my screen again, just to, I think Marie's slide was really helpful about, the actual steps to take. Their website and app is key. So what we've done is afterwards, we're going to need to direct people somewhere where they can get information. So we've also created a website. Let me try to get the right, I don't know, the screen up here. So this is the Ottawa, the Easter Blood Drive website. The logo and Love Ottawa CHRI at the top there. And there's links like this one to take us to the Canadian Blood Services website where you can actually register. So we've got some various information. Here's one of the key things is how to join our Easter Blood Drive in 3 steps. Sign in. If you have an account, you sign in. For most people who will be new donors, they'll need to create a personal donor account with Canadian Blood Services. So we have the link here to go do that. Step 2, once you have your account set up, there's a kind of a box that says join a team or organization. So you click on that, and then there's a box to start typing. Marie mentioned, I guess there's also a QR code method to connect to this team, but it's called Easter Blood Drive. And then step 3, make an appointment. And so as part of the team, they've reserved slots, particularly during that Holy Week, first week of April. So I've also got, if I can get here, my things in front of the way. It's not what I wanted to do. How do I? You can't access my tabs because there's Zoom tabs in front of the way. Okay, so here's what the page looks like where you sign into your account or create an account. And And so that's what that page. So this is the first step, is to go here, enter your email, your name, date of birth, and so forth, password, and create an account. And then, and then once you're in, here's what it looks like inside your account. This again is on the Canadian Blood Services site. And you see this box here, join managed organizations. And if you click on that, I'm already a member. It's supposed to take me there. There we go. So there's the page. So I'm here, it says, there's our code, and it says Easter Blood Drive. That's the name of our team. But if, as a new person, you would start typing it in, and then it populates with according to what you typed in here. So there's Easter Blood Drive at the top, and you would just select that, and you've joined. So that's just to give you an idea of what that process looks like. So I think with that, we can go to Q&A. If you have a question.
And so from there, you can book any appointment. Like they have options of plasma or whole blood or platelet. I think like they have allotted a few hundred spots for us. But those spots will be released to the public 5 days before. Like if they have not been booked, then they will be released back to the public. Yeah. So we welcome any question. Like any question from any of you?
App, which I think is very, very valuable. Once you've given your first donation, if you haven't before, it will give you your blood type. It will give you health information, bleed time, and you can get a lot of information, which is value to you personally too. And I think it's extremely helpful. And a lot of people don't realize that the information that you will be able to access in regards to blood type and your personal donations thereafter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.